6. Okay, so this is the same as last week. It just looks a little different because the pictures are a little different. There are 3 vocabulary words that they could be using for this. So the first one is, notice that you have a right triangle and you have that line that goes straight up. Okay, so that represents like your height, but in math and in like science, because you're getting to like higher level, that's called the altitude. So if you go on a plane, it says like the altitude of the plane is blah, 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 blah. Okay, that means it's just like how high you are. So if it has this part right here with the 90-degree angle, that represents the height. So we're still going to do small triangle over big triangle. So if I say F, what is that, H? FH is the altitude of the small triangle. What's the altitude of the big triangle? D or DV, either way, okay? The other piece, we're going to set it equal to one of the other sides. So if I say FE is the side that I'm actually given with a number, then it's over BA. So it's still cross multiplying. We just have vocab words involved now. So the altitude is when you have a 90-degree angle because it's standing straight up. The next one, if you look inside the angle, you have those little arc marks. What's the arc mark mean? It's congruent. Good. They're equal. What is that line called that's making it congruent? An angle bisector. So this is an angle bisector. Okay, so if I choose small triangles UW, what does that match with on the big triangle? US, so I'm doing UW over QS. And then if I say it equals this time, let's do UV, what does that match with on the other one? RQ or QR, either way, doesn't matter.
Yes.
Bye. Okay, so you're just finding matching pieces, same thing, except now we have vocabulary. So this one, notice that it's saying that the segment is congruent. Okay, that's technically creating a midpoint. So J is a midpoint and N is a midpoint. We're not going to call it a midpoint. The line that connects across to the midpoint is actually called the median. So median, midpoint. So if I say J, or not J, LN, LN matches with what on the big triangle? HJ, which is equal to LK over HG. And then it's the same as last week. We'll be cross multiplying. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. We just have some vocab. Yes.
Would you type it?
You could do LM. That's fine. Where is LM? Yeah. So you could do LM and then you would match it with HI. So it's whatever pieces you have. So let's go to number 2. So number 2, let's start by, oh, what's up? Yes, bring your phone. For number 2, let's start by looking at the small triangle or both triangles. Is this an angle bisector, a median, or a altitude? This is an altitude. Yep, this is altitude because you have your right angles straight up. Okay, they're just like turned slightly. So what's my altitude of the small triangle? 8, and I'm going to put it over 10. So 8 over 10. And I'm going to say it's equal to small triangle, which is what? 14 over X. And then we're doing the same thing as last week. We'll do a little scoopity scoop, a little cross multiply. So 8 times X is 8X. 14 times 10 gives me 140. And I divide and I get a decimal. X equals 17.5. Very nice. Okay, let's try number 1. So number 1, is this an altitude, a median, an angle bisector? This is a median. So let's choose the median on the small triangle. X. What's my median on my big triangle? 15. And now this one you have to be careful with because there's multiple numbers. You just choose a number on the small. So if I choose 16, if you're not sure which number that matches with, you use your similarity statement. ST is matching with DE. Or you can kind of use common sense. 16 is smaller than 19.2. 20 is smaller than 24. So 16 has to match with 20. And then when you cross multiply, what do we end up getting? And then what do we get? X equals 12. Easy? Yeah. Okay, let's make it a little bit harder. Let's go to number 5. 5 is the same thing. So 5, let's look, is this a median, an angle bisector, or an altitude? Median. What is the median on the small triangle? 12, and 12 matches with what? 20, because they're both on the inside. Okay, now I'm doing small over big to match. So what has to go in the numerator? Perfect. And now we're going to cross multiply and we're going to have to distribute. So we're doing 12 times 2x minus 9. So you'll have to use the distributive property. And then 20 times x minus 2. Double distributive property. Take a second. Solve for x. Bless you. S equals 17. Why is Wheeler up again? But she told you she wasn't gonna be here. Okay, so did we get 17? Not too bad. Okay. Same thing as last week. You should get 17. Now, the last part is the triangle angle bisector theorem. So this is when you have an angle bisector. You could read the little paragraph if you want, but it's when you have an angle bisector, but you're not actually given the bisector piece. So we're still matching pieces. You're still thinking small triangle versus big triangle, but now they're connected and you're not going to be given the actual angle bisector piece. So if I pick something on the small triangle, let's say I choose DC. So this is my small triangle. My big triangle's over here. They're touching. Okay. DC would match with what on the other triangle? DA or AD. Doesn't matter. And then if I say it equals small triangle BC, BC matches with what? BA. So same thing. This is the last cross multiplication stuff that we have. We've been doing this literally all last week. So it's like the same process. So let's do number 6. So you have 2 triangles. You have a small one on the left. You have a big one on the right. If I pick something on the small, say I choose 4.8, just because 4.8, it matches with what? X, good. And then what is left on my small triangle? 12 over 18. So take a second, cross multiply. You do get a decimal, so don't freak out when you get a decimal. Seven point two. 7.2. Yeah, I know. I just wish I would have known it was like country day. I would have like. Oh, this week's their week. Yeah. Yeah. Today's like Cowboys versus what? Cowboys versus Country Club. Cowboys versus Country Club. I just love it. I tried to go and so else. I tried to use. She said it's not. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's, I think there's one. I have a longer one. I did, oh, it might not be longer.
This one's good.
That lunchbox is somebody's lunchbox. I don't know who's, it's been here since Friday.
Oh, I know his lunchbox is.
Who is it?
So, yeah, don't get.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do number 8 and 9. So same thing. If this whole piece is 39, this is 15, 14, it's not 14. How much? 24. Okay. So if I choose something on the small triangle, what's something on the left side because it's small? She said 15. 15 over 24. But you could use X. X would match with 36. And then X over 36. So cross multiply, you get another decimal, but it's okay. It's all right. Not all of them. But I'll tell you which ones are decimals. Is 7 a decimal? Hold on. 7 is a decimal. Yeah, it is a decimal. 22.5. Okay, last one that we're doing is number 9. Number 9, you have to think. This whole thing that we just did was 39. The little tiny piece was 15. So we took 39, we minus 15 because big piece was 39, little piece was 15. So we subtracted them. This time, no. Shh. The whole thing is X. The little piece is 12. This other piece is not X. What would I write here to represent ML? If the whole thing's X and X minus 12. So on the back side, whatever the big piece is, if it's the number and the little piece was X, it would be big minus small. In this case, it's X minus 12 because X represents the big piece. So sometimes it could be 12 minus X. Sometimes it could be X minus 12. It's big piece minus small piece. So we're going to do the same thing. If I say 12 is on top, what's over or under my 12? X minus 12 equals, what else is on my small? 18 over 30. So you'll have to distribute once in this case. You'll have to distribute the 18 to the X and to the 12. I'm surprised they're outside. It's not raining anymore. Oh, really? Yeah, but it's probably also nasty. They're not playing football. Me too. I wish I was at home. Or 2. 32. Oops, sorry. I didn't realize what they're showing it. Okay, do you want to know which ones are decimals?
Yeah.
Okay. On the front, first off, you can skip. On the front, you can skip 2 problems. You can cross out number 4 on the front. And cross out number 10 on the front. You do have 2 problems on the front. Do not forget about them. The last 2 you have to do on the front are 3 and 7. Both of these are decimals. So if you want to circle it so that way you know it's a decimal, just so you know. 3 and 7 are the last 2 problems that you have to do on the front. 3 and 7 are both decimals. On the back, we're not skipping any. On the back, there are some decimals. So 3 and 7 are decimals. On the back, numero, let me check. Numero 1 is a decimal. Okay. 1's a decimal. 6 is a decimal. 8 is a decimal, and 9 is a decimal. Okay, so just so you know, those ones are decimals. Don't freak out when you get a decimal. If you get a decimal for a different one, let me know. I'm gonna pass out what papers I have because if you have a binder check coming up, let me know if it's stuck. Let me know if you need help. We have like a couple more grades going in for the 9 weeks. So like get to it.
Tell her you have any extra credit.
No.
Please, I'm like, I don't want to go your